With your permission, I do here to call upon my brother, engineer Awou Daniel, to make his remark. You are welcome, Awou Daniel. Fadal.
أولا أنا بشكر الحضور وعلى رأسهم Honorable Minister Chuang, Minister of Petroleum, former Minister of Finance and Planning, my brother Chuang, and Honorable Awou, Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, Honorable Malwalta, the First Under Secretary of Finance and Planning, and then my brother Benjamin, and the Secretary for Planning, and then my brother Dr. Alich, my brother Dr. William Anyag, and the Secretary, the Minister of Petroleum, all the DGs, all the staff of the Ministry of Finance. I'm so happy to be here with you today because I used to come to this ministry. It's not a new ministry to us. We know that Ministry of Finance and Planning and Petroleum, I used to call them two faces of the same coin because they work together. And if you know very well that the resources of this country that are developed today are 90% oil and gas. And this is where I come from. So basically, finance is 90% oil and gas. So it's not a surprise. I'm happy today because it's a surprise to me. It's a surprise. Because sometimes when you are surprised, your reaction will be like mixed, you don't even know. But I do believe that the leadership of this country under His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, who trusted me to this position, is an assignment at this particular time. And I thank God for that. And as much as everyone is worried in my family, I'm equally concerned, but I'm not worried. I'm not worried because it is not my responsibility alone. It is the responsibility of institutions. And this institution now that is heading the economy of South Sudan is Minister of Finance. So when you're talking about an institution, you don't talk about a person. My role here is to come and work with you. And this is not the first time that I've been a minister. I've been a minister also briefly in petroleum, but I've worked as a civil servant for quite a long time. And I've run companies in Saudi Arabia, but not in Sudan. That was my first experience. The very first experience that I had in management was in Saudi Arabia. In Sudan, I was only junior for only less than 1 year. But after that, I worked in Saudi Arabia, and my brother, Shengiti, General Shengiti, both you, Major General, he was with us in Saudi Arabia, so he knows very well what we used to do. On those days, I was very young. I think I became a manager of a company at the age of 27 in Saudi Arabia. At the age of 27, I became a manager. It was not a surprise, but because of hard work. And this is what we do better. And this hard work is not a work of an individual. It's a teamwork. Because we engineers, we believe in teamwork. And that's the success of our work. We work also in Sudan, in Sudapet, with my colleague, Honorable Advisor Mohammed Hini Benjamin. He's seated behind there. So we have some cumulative experience of how things are managed and how teams are supposed to function. What we need in this country is for us to work as a team. No individual in this world can do anything alone. Even Albert Einstein, the biggest scientist that the whole world knows, he works with a team for him to achieve success. And most of his inventions are what people are benefiting from today. It's not a work of one man. So what I want to tell you, rest assured that my coming here, although it was not prepared for, but I'm sure my little contribution will enhance what you have already started. And I appreciate Dr. Bak for all the work that he has done. And these are things that are seen today. We'll take it from where he stopped. Because, you know, you cannot reinvent the wheel if the wheel is already there. If you reinvent the wheel, then you're wasting your time. You have to start where others have stopped and move on. Because for you to build anything, you start one block and then you add another one until you reach your destination. So I'm not worried about that. And we'll still have everybody to work with us in this institution and other government institutions in this country to support the leadership and to support this country through collective efforts, not individual efforts. All of you have talked very nice, and it seems that none of you has differed from the other, whether the way you diagnose the problem of South Sudan or the way you would want people to move forward. All of you have agreed to that. And this are very valuable advice to me. And I equally agree with all of what you have said, all of you, the former speakers. I'm not a stranger, and I'm aware of those challenges as well, just like yourselves. So what is the way forward? That is the question. I know that when a Minister of Finance is removed, or any other ministry or minister is removed from his position, it's just an assignment. Not because there's something wrong. It just happened that changes are frequent. And this is normal. I was one of those. And this is normal. And when you're removed or you're relieved from your position, does not mean that there's something wrong. These are normal changes. It happens, whether it is in a very short period of time or a long period of time. It just happened. But I can also advise people should stop making propaganda. When somebody is relieved today, then people try to attach so many things that are not even true. If we continue to do that, it's not a good thing. It's character assassination of a person. And that's not a good thing, because eventually it will develop into a culture. And this is one of the worst things in communities, in societies. For us to be an advanced society, we need to appreciate. We need to thank. Even somebody who did little, you must say thank you. Because when you do, tomorrow you'll even do better somewhere else. But let us not start attacking, trying to assassinate the character for no reason. And especially this is done mostly by our young people. I've not seen an elderly doing that. Let us refrain from doing that for this country to move forward. Because by doing so, you will instill fear in everyone who is working. And this fear will not allow you to do what you are supposed to do, simply because it has become a problem. So that's my little advice. On South Sudan economy, I think on my own way, the way I understand it, we have not been able to raise enough resources to run the government. There has always been deficit. And we used to work in collaboration with Minister of Finance. We used to attend even IMF and World Bank meetings. And I know the challenges that they are going through. And I happen personally to be one from the Ministry of Petroleum representing most of those, the Ministry of Petroleum in those meetings. So I know the challenges that the ministry is going through. It's not a fault of a person. It just happened that we have shortages of resources, and the resources that are developed in South Sudan is oil. And even if the oil is running, we still have a deficit. And that is true, and I know this very well. I know the figures. The deficit is so huge. When you make our budget, we just put it, but it doesn't cover anything at all. The NRA, when they started to do their work, they did very well as well. But they also need time. They need facilitation. They need to be empowered for them to do their work and for the institution to function efficiently. It is not their fault. It is our collective responsibility to understand what are their needs. And it is our responsibility to give them a chance to do whatever they want to do to improve things. The central bank, equally, is having difficulties. And these are not their problems. These are the problems of the country, so we must understand this. Because if we trade blames and accusations, you will not find a solution. Let us be honest and see what is the problem. For us, we say, let us troubleshoot in an engineering language, so that you understand what is the problem, so that you can fix bolts and nuts, and nothing will fall apart as a result of that. So this diagnosis is very important for everyone to understand. And for people who are educated, they should also sensitize our population that these are the challenges we are facing, and it is our challenge, all of us, and we must face it head on, all of us, for this country to develop and for this country to move forward. We cannot be talking about survival all the time. Now we're just surviving. We wanted this country to move forward. People must go to work. And for you to work, it doesn't need Ministry of Petroleum or Finance or Central Bank or NRA or NGOs that everyone will want to work in those places. There are other sectors. And of course, we also understand the challenges, especially our business community. Now the market is almost controlled by foreigners. And that's the reason our foreign exchange is being drained. It is simply because of that. We are not productive. So let us start to be productive. It's not going to be just a word. It's a policy direction. Yesterday, in our swearing in, that was the direction the directives given to us by His Excellency the President, that let us solve the current crisis. And then, once we settle, we now move on to look for sustainable solutions. Because if we solve this crisis tomorrow, that's not the end. Another one will come. It may even be worse than this. So let us embrace for that. These are facts. So that every one of us must feel that responsibility. It's a huge one for all of us. No blame to an individual. We need to work in that spirit. And the low-hanging fruits in those kind of development have been said by my colleagues earlier on. The quickest thing that can help us is agriculture. But we'll not be talking about agriculture without implementing the plans that have been put in place. So our role now is to make sure that we put whatever little we have. We don't need to wait for billions. Just little. Just little and start something. And if you have started, then you will not stop. But if you continue to talk about plans that are not implemented and plans that are not even done, this is not a good thing. So we must plan properly. Because we know that failing to plan is a very big disaster. If you fail to plan, then you fail everything. You have written your failure because you are not planning. And that's why this ministry is key for planning of South Sudan. It's here in this institution. So it's a very important institution that we should work. We put all our heads together, all our talents together, and make sure that we move this country forward through quick implementation of quick impact projects that can help us out of this situation. And then we continue to do that until we are able to stop some of the imports, or we do import substitution. We have to substitute some of these imports, and especially the critical commodities or the essential commodities like food. People have been talking about food, and this is number one. Fuel, and then drugs. These are the things that we should focus on so that anyone will find it in the market. If somebody doesn't get Pepsi Cola or whatever, you will not die. Or if you don't get wine or cigarettes, you will not die. Or even V8, you will not die. But if you don't get food, you don't get medicine, then you are in trouble. And these are the priorities that we should put whatever we get. We will not say that we have a lot, because we have nothing, but we have to look for it, like advised by my colleagues earlier on. This situation now is so dire. We wanted to knock the doors, like advised by our head of state, His Excellency the President, so that we rescue the situation. And the first thing we do is to start something little. It's not big. Just to show everybody that we are starting. Because when you start, it will go. The oil that we rely on today has been formed 65 million years ago. Then it can be consumed in 100 years. But if you do agriculture today, you can consume it in 3 months. So you can see the difference now. Every seed of a crop can generate not less than 100 seed. So you can see the impact of this. So oil and gas and petroleum in South Sudan is so scarce. It's limited. So we should use it as a seed for development. And food security is number one. Because if you consume your seed, then you will not have any harvest at all. So it looks that we are consuming the seed. And maybe Mohamedino can tell you how long are we going to have this oil. If we don't do more, if we don't invest more, we will not have it in few years to come. This is the time for us to do what we didn't do before. And this is the time that everybody should understand that the responsibility is a collective one. not a person. The world is moving as well towards energy transition, and the requirement for that. Even in South Sudan, we don't have a plan for that yet. The whole world is moving towards energy transition, and we have something called net zero in 2050. 2050 is not far from now, and we don't have one plan. When we plan that, the little resources that we have today, we can put them into lasting values, into sustainable development. And this is exactly what His Excellency promised us, directed us yesterday, that let us produce food sustainably. So this time around, our theme should be producing food sustainably. It doesn't need to be big. We start it and then we move forward. We move on with that. These are all challenges, and we need to understand how to address them. I'm not here to tell you that we're going to do this and we're going to do that. I don't have a magic stick. I'm not better than Dr. Obak or whoever has been there before. I'm not better than them. But it happened that I'll be one of you. And all of those who used to be here before, they will be one of us. We'll work together, including the Minister of Petroleum. Because if we don't work together, it will not be the problem of Bak or myself or Port Kang. It will be a problem of South Sudan. And therefore, working together is what will help us. And also trying to address the challenges, especially issues to do with transparency, issues to do with accountability. These are very important things. Because when we move out there, we want to get some loans or whatever. It is very difficult. Who made it difficult? It is us who made it difficult for ourselves. We need to ease this. Work with IMF, with World Bank, with QNB, with African Development, with all those institutions. At difficult times, you can be bailed out. But we need to respect our commitments. When you respect your commitments today, tomorrow it will pay. It will pay back. This is the direction that we are going to take. It has already been started by my colleagues, and we are going to continue with the same. Because building a nation starts today, and then it continues like that. As it started earlier on, since creation, it has been evolving until it becomes the way it is today. So the responsibility is so big, and we are ready to work it out together in the spirit of teamwork, in the spirit of solidarity, so that we move this country together forward. We help our people, and then now we create a lot of opportunities. The resources we have, like people say, are so many, but we need to diversify. Once we finish with this agriculture, we move to other mineral resources. And I'm so fond of talking about minerals, but not gold. I'm not talking about gold, because when people talk about minerals, they think it's gold. It's not gold alone. Gold is one thing, but there are so many minerals that are more than gold in this country. And these are industrial minerals that we can use. And for us to do this, there are a lot of things that we have to do. So if we talk about the development of South Sudan, we can talk for days. But we don't want to tell you that we will do this, we will do this. No, we will not say that. All of us start from today. Put our heads together. Move around. Try to address this situation. When we relax, then we can start our plans. Because you cannot be talking about building something today and people are hungry. And people are thirsty. You need to address this one first, as quick as possible. We don't know whether we're going to succeed or not, but we have to knock the doors of friends, of partners, so that we come out from this situation. I'm not going to say anymore, but I would like to thank you and assure you that all of us will be working together in the spirit of the team, and we'll work to make sure that we come out from this situation, and then we learn from this experience. coming out from the situation is something, and learning from it is another thing. If we learn from this, I'm sure we will not be hit by any problem if we learn. But if we don't learn, then we'll have problems recurring all the time. My brother talked about gum arabic. It is true. We can do that. We can do sesame. But first, we need to make sure that we have access to the market. And we need to have also access to low transportation facilities. This is very important because you have to compete. It is not up to you. When you transport a cargo from here and it costs you very high, even if it goes to the international market, nobody will buy because your price is not going to be competitive. Even if your quality is good, but still your price will not be competitive. So these are some of the issues that we need to address as we move on. But it's a genuine resource that can help us because it is ready. But what is the challenge is only the road. And I'm sure we in the Ministry of Petroleum, we started to work on the road with the Honorable Minister to Padak and Africana Monday, even send some vehicles for NRA. Because when we talk about NRA, we don't talk about Nimuli alone. There are so many places that we have to unlock. These are potentials that can add more to the little we have. Even if you get something little, 10% out of this is better than nothing. We built 50 kilometers in the Ministry of Petroleum. It was supposed to be paid by finance, but it didn't pay. Maybe they didn't understand the significance of that road. But our intention is to make sure that we improve the logistics of oil and gas, and at the same time, we encourage the agriculture in northern Upper Nile, especially in Rang, so that we can export sesame, we can export gum arabic, and maybe sunflower. So instead of us using the road for imports, we'll be using the road for export for the first time, I'm sure. So that is a critical corridor for South Sudan. The other corridor is the river transportation. For some of those who know, the river transportation is a potential, but it has not been unlocked. We need to unlock those potentials. There are so many. And I'm telling you this because you have to go and think about it. You'll find that these are real potentials for us to add more resources for collection. And by having those, I'm sure we will not be talking about deficit. And the target should be to reach a level where the minister said earlier on that from the NRA we are supposed to pay chapter 1 and chapter 2. When we get the oil and gas and minerals, it will be for development and investment. We can invest this money inside South Sudan to develop some of the projects that will add value. And there are projects that can generate money. And the government also needs to invest, because government is about business. That's the way I understand it. Government is not only to regulate, is to regulate and for business as well. Because for you to put the benchmark for everything, you must create model projects for that. Tomorrow you will complain, the traders are doing this, they are doing that. You have to get the benchmark by investing in some model schemes. And this model scheme does not mean that you will do everything. No, you don't need to. Just contribute little in order for you to set the benchmark for those. And by having those together, let us go and crack our minds. And let us come with plans of how do we implement these things. They will come just one by one. It may not be in 5 years or even 10 years, but we have to start them. Whatever we can have today, little, we'll put it into this, and we move forward. Because for us to bridge the budget deficit, it is only investment that can help us in that. We should not bridge the gap between our deficit, between our budget and through loans, because you are adding more. Because loans will come with interest at the same time. You don't want that. Even if it is very little, but it's still a lot of money. So we have heat wave. I'm not going to talk a lot. I think I've already talked a lot. But let us work together. It is not difficult if we believe that we can do it. If we believe it. But if you don't believe it, you will fail. I myself believe. I believe that we can do it. But it requires patience. It will take a long time. I will not even finish anything. But I will start some of what my brother has started and my other colleagues. And whoever will come after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, it doesn't matter. But you'll find something that has been added on the top of what he has done. With this, I would like to thank you and see you in the office. Thank you.